A group of Catholic men is demanding answers from bishops, cardinals, and the Pope about the sex abuse scandals plaguing the church. In a letter, they write, quote, "Amidst widespread global abuse, cover-ups, and hierarchical failure, what are you doing and what will you do to protect the people of God? We urge you to answer this simple question." The complete letter can be found at CatholicMenUnited.org. A group of Catholic women wrote a similar open letter. Joining me now is one of the men who signed that letter, Mark DeYoung. He's studying moral theology at Catholic University of America. Mark, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
People like theologian Scott Hahn, radio host Al Krestev signed this letter. Why did you sign it? Why did you think it was important to sign it? And why is it so important for men in general to voice their concerns?
Well, I think we're living in a time of crisis right now for the church. We're seeing broad-scale infidelity on the part of the clergy, as well as lay people. We're seeing just decades of the history of child abuse, and we're really just asking for a reform, a purification, and a time for the church to look at itself and to root out some of these evil causes.
What has the response been like so far?
The response has been great. We, of course, had an original list of signatories at about 100, and I believe we just about reached 7,000 as of a few hours ago. So the response has been great. Men have been contacting us and saying this is the right thing to do.
What impact do you think that the current sex abuse crisis is having on the number of men entering the priesthood or just lay men in general?
Well, as you well know, the numbers in the seminaries certainly are waning, have been waning, but I think there's also a sense of just sort of what happens leading up to vocations, what's happening in the parishes, the parents who are not feeling comfortable with their kids being involved in the liturgy and participating in lay apostolates, and just a general sense of fear and maybe distrust about the state of things with the leadership.
And that's so tough. I mean, obviously, the liturgy is so important for Catholics to be involved in and to be a part of, and when they're not, we're seeing that separation.
And for a young man to find his vocation, to begin hearing that call. It starts with the liturgy.
Absolutely. So American bishops will be meeting in November. Obviously, this issue will continue to be front and center, likely when they're talking about it. What would you like to see them, or how do you want to see them address the issue?
Well, within the letter, we're really asking for the bishops to consider a lay-led investigation of experts, criminal enforcement leaders, lawyers, and so on, and in addition to theologians and philosophers, but a lay-led investigation that really looks into what's going on here and tries to root out those cause problems.
Lay people have been, of course, raising their voice at the time. Many bishops say they must play a role, as you were saying. What other advice would you say for laity? I mean, obviously, we make up the majority of the church as we move forward now.
Part of what we're asking the men on our letter to do is to pray and fast regularly. Today starts our first fast of 17 Friday fasts through the rest of the year, particularly for this cause of reform within the church. So we're asking for men to take on some type of difficult sacrifice, especially giving up food on these days, specifically related to this request that the bishops take action, not only in terms of an investigation, but also in terms of just being our spiritual leaders and guiding us through these chaotic times.
So many important points, and we appreciate your coming on here and talking about them. Mark DeYoung, one of the signatories to the men's letter to Pope Francis, and studying moral theology as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.